The number one myth that husbands believe about their wives when it comes to sex is that their wives have no libido and no sex drive. In reality, very likely, their wife has a responsive sex drive instead of a spontaneous sex drive. Responsive means they need some stimulation to respond to, and then they'll get into it. The husband might be projecting his own spontaneous sex drive, where he's down for it whenever and doesn't need any cueing. Husbands, talk to her, experiment, figure out how to trigger her response. And side note, it's also a myth that you're going to make your wife totally turned on because you're doing housework. But doing work around the house isn't sexy. It's just that doing work around the house takes away one of the barriers to their wives ever getting their head in the game with sex. The reality is the responsive partner is not going to feel all sexy if she's all stressed out and overwhelmed. In the same way that some husbands can only be present for one internal experience at a time. So like if they're fearing inadequacy, they can't access their vulnerable emotion. The wife might not be able to access sexual pleasure when she's stressed out about how there's dishes in the sink. The number one myth that wives believe about their husbands when it comes to sex is that their husbands just want to get some, just want some release, and they don't really care about anything else. There's been a ton of studies that show that men use sex as a way to connect with their significant other, as a way to share an intimacy and vulnerability with them, and even to share playfulness or an enjoyable experience with them. And they also want an engaged partner. It's not just about them. They enjoy their partner's enjoyment. So this is stereotypical, it may or may not fit, but the same way that a wife thinks talking about things around the office or opinions on the neighbor's landscaping is kind of fun and connecting, and the husband is like, what's the point of talking about that stuff? The husband thinks of sex as connecting, and the wife might be like, what's the point of that? Didn't we just talk?